In the far future, where wars are fought with the might of battlemechs, Without Question tells the tale of Kanji Chistu as he struggles to keep Clan Jade Falcon alive in the occupation zone his predecessor abandoned in her failed bid to conquer Terra. Though it's a sequel to Brian Young's award-winning novel A Question of Survival, Without Question serves as a perfect on-ramp for anyone interested in jumping into the Ill Clan era and the current battletech timeline. The new Khan of Clan Jade Falcon has to fight for the very soul of his clan and their stronghold of Sudaten as Clan Hell's horses invade and they experience attacks from within and without. With shocking twists and turns, the latest installment of the battletech mythos will have you hanging on by the edge of your seat. Releasing May 15th, Without Question is available for pre-order now, and you won't want to miss it.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Tuesday Newsday. I think this is the 16th one. We're getting to count pretty high here, sweet 16. I'm excited to talk with you guys today. I'm Rem, I'm the Community and Marketing Director, and I have with me today RJ Thomas, the new, I don't even know if you're new anymore. It's been, what, 5 or 6 months now?
6 months, yes.
The new line developer for Shadowrun. So excited to chat with you today. It's been a while since we've talked too, so it'll be good to catch up. But as usual for Tuesday Newsday, we're going to dive into the news that we've got first. I got my little script here. So number one, I think we pretty much talk about each week now a little bit, is the Mercenaries Kickstarter. Last week I had Lauren on the show, and if there's one thing we know about Lauren is he gets very excited. And so we found out he was thinking that shipping was going to start within 7 to 10 days, I believe he said last week. We are still very close, but we are still waiting on a Norse Foundry shipment to arrive with dice pucks, and one more shipment from our warehouse as well is in transit now. So we are still super close, just not quite there yet. So hopefully within the next 1 to 2 weeks, I will have some great news for you guys. But as I find out, I will let you guys know. In additional news, let's do our Shadowrun news real quick. Our Shadowrun news is that we have a new release that dropped last week. What's that, RJ?
So it dropped on the 29th of May. That would be Needle's Eye. It is a campaign book which was tied into... Wait a minute, nope, I got that wrong. I think it was Final Bets, which was tied into Needle's Eye, which Needle's Eye talked about a whole lot of stuff that dealt with the Grand Tour. And this is the second time we've done the Grand Tour since my time in Shadowrun, which has been about 10 years. And it goes back to all the poshness and high society, corporate intrigue, all that stuff. And what Final Bets was, it is kind of the campaign or the other side of that, where players actually get in on the action through a series of micro adventures where they can literally start, getting involved with some of this stuff. So instead of just reading about what some of these hoity-toity and upper crust, upper echelon people in the Sixth World are doing, now you actually get to get involved with the action and some of the things that they're up to, because they're not all playing nice. Of course, at Shadowrun, no one ever really plays nice.
What?
So
awesome! I'm gonna have to take a look at that. It's been pretty exciting. I checked in a week or two ago. I feel like anytime I bring up Tommy and Six Sides of Gaming or Lynn Vander Studios, he magically is notified and shows up in the chat. So we'll see if that holds true. But I checked a week or two ago, and the World of Shadows live stream that has, or recorded content that has, I'm GMing, and I've got Tommy and Devin from Six Sides. I've got Elisa Teague, who's a amazing game designer, KP from KP11 Studios, who's a industry photographer, and he's been doing a ton lately, and we're at 28,000 views on episode 1.
Nice.
So
excellent.
I will have to check out Needle's Eye, because I've got some one-shots coming up. We're actually going to be, for those that are going to be at Origins, I'll be doing a World of Shadows show on the main stage, it's going to be a one shot. And my hope for any of these one shots for World of Shadows is that for those that follow along, it's not going to be the main storyline, but it's going to be little events that like a peek behind the curtain on what's happening to our main runner team. So I'm pretty excited about that.
So what you're saying is it's going to be a side job.
Yep. So it'll be like season 1. Our group is in Chicago, so maybe you get to see what some of the other higher ups are working on, or doing good or bad, or at some point they run into another runner team, so maybe you get to see how they get hired and into the fray and stuff. So we'll see what comes for Origins. I'm actually collaborating with Scott Schletz, who's one of our freelancers, and he's the story writer. So it's yeah,
very good. I've worked with Scott for many years. He's a good writer. He has some very interesting ideas.
So this, one of the things that got me so excited about the story for World of Shadows, this is off topic, but hey, that's what we're here for. What got me so excited about it is that it takes place in the same world as Chicago Shadows, which is the were you one of my editors for the script for the pilot? I can't remember.
Fortunately, I was not.
We're gonna have to fix
Slightly
that.
sad.
Yeah. Well, we only had the pilot that was, and it's gonna go through extra edits soon too. But we're getting an entire first season hopefully written, and we'll have to bring Mr. Developer into that. So
I would be honored.
awesome. UK Games Expo was last week, and the team had a blast. They kept showing us pictures of the massive signage. I
know. I was so, you know what? I was so jealous. I saw those banners. I'm like, oh, man, I didn't get an invite. I was legit sad, but I understand.
I mean, we're going to see, like, the plan is to stay at UK Games Expo for the next several years at least. And we are hoping to, take a look at the numbers from this year and last year and make sure that it's worth it to go cost-wise. But they love having us there. The community is phenomenal. Randall's doing his tour around Europe now, and then but yeah, that signage, it's so we have for some of our cons, and I think this is the same one, they must have shipped it, we have a 30-foot Battletech Mercenaries sign that hangs from the ceiling or on a wall or something like that, and I think it was a Shadowrun one too, and a third one maybe. I need to go find the pictures again.
I think there was Shadowrun, Battletech, and Leviathans, if memory serves.
Ooh. So. Yeah, I'm scrolling through pictures now. Oh, yep, there's Leviathans. They had a huge drop ship that someone 3D printed and brought. Frostpunk got played there, which is super cool. Yeah, it looked like a ton of fun. So, really cool stuff. All right.
Well, speaking of fun, I got to take these off because, well, these are fun and cool, but they're not exactly comfortable. Fair, that would be nice to be able to see things. There we go.
Also for UK Games Expo, I got a couple of quick updates. Most of the team is still in Europe, so we weren't able to do a full retrospective, but in the meeting I have where I steal my content for
here?
Yes, for Tuesday Newsday. I have the director's meeting is on Tuesdays, and so that's where I steal what everyone gives updates about, and I'm like, good, look, I know things. Star League and Urbanmech Lambs sold out within 10 minutes.
Woo.
So gonna need to bring more stuff for the new stuff next year. Shadowrun Core Rulebook sold out on Sunday, and Parachute Panda sold out, which is one of our favorite board games this year. So
gosh, capitalism.
Yes. So much happening. Let's see, what else do I have? I have, you know what? I did forget when I was still in Battletech mode, so I'll circle back to Battletech mode for a second. We have our partner Leah, who does all of our manufacturing in China, just dropped some new videos. And there's a lot of talk. This came out a couple months ago, there was a video that dropped too, and it got a lot of whispers out. We have talked about it briefly, but these minis that are in the purples and the reds and the blues, they are for a retailer grinder kit. So that's going to be for retailers, and we're pretty excited about it. So I don't have many details, except that that's what that is. So, yeah. What else? Oh, so with Frostpunk, I'm like a scatterbrain today. I don't know. I'm not
Just roll
manic
with it.
today.
Just go. Yeah. Just go with it.
So one of my goals for this year is to increase content here on the Catalyst YouTube channel. And I have been postponing all of my usual playtime of Frostpunk until we made the announcement. And now that we've made the announcement and my vacation is over, yes, I'm traveling for like 2 weeks after this, but I'm going to try to record and drop some extras in. But starting this Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, I'll be doing 2-hour plays of Frostpunk. So join the chat on the days that I don't have to pre-record, and I can I'd love to get feedback from the chat on what moral decisions to make for each of the scenarios. But I want to play up through and including the Kickstarter launch. So whenever I'm home and not traveling and able, I will be streaming Frostpunk right here. I can't wait. I miss it. Other than that, just a couple of reminders for you guys. Last week I had Lauren on. We were talking about side projects. So Castle Wolfmoon is launching on Kickstarter next Thursday. And this is Gary Gygax's last known unpublished D&D campaign. So you can follow the project here. Boop. And over here. I have 3 monitors, so I have to look like far left to far right over here. We also have the Snoop Dogg and Master P tile game that will be coming to Kickstarter late summer. And that is that link right there. We have World of Shadows I dropped in. Actually, Snoop I dropped in too at the beginning when the commercials were playing. And then we also have the Frostpunk Kickstarter that's launching in about a month and 5 days. It's July 9th. So, whew, lots and lots and lots happening. It's going to be a Kickstarter
Mark your calendars.
Yeah, it's going to be a Kickstarter heavy second half of the year here. So, all right. I'm going to turn away from that screen. Hi, RJ.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I am living the dream. And by dream, well, no, I'm not going to badmouth him.
You lie.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not going to lie. This it's only been 6 months since I took this job, but it's been a crazy 6 months. I wouldn't trade it for anything at this point. This is just like, I still have to remind myself every so often, I got to work. Oh, wait a minute. This is what I do for work now. Woo!
That's so exciting. Yeah. Awesome.
It is.
For you guys, our audience, I met RJ as a demo agent. He was a demo agent, and I was a player at a con. And yeah, I don't know, like, I can't remember what event or whatever, but we ended up connecting and talking, and like the love of Shadowrun that RJ has. Oh, I remember, you were in a meeting with Scott.
Yes, I think so. So, and I think it was at I want to say Gen Con.
I think it was Origins,
Probably.
the upstairs, the
Big Bar on 2?
Upstairs. Yeah. Or no, it wasn't Big Bar on 2. It was when you come out of the demo room at Origins and you turn kind of right, and there's like some couches and stuff before you head to the elevator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. And after a while, so many conventions, everything starts to blend together.
It's funny, like, my memories of Origins and Gen Con, like, I have to think of the floor tiles from Gen Con, or I'm like, where was I?
Well, I heard they changed those.
Yeah, they did. So
that's gonna. So yeah, we're lost. Like, we're done. That's it. So
I don't know where I am. But awesome.
Wherever you go, there you are.
from there, you were a demo agent. You were also a freelancer at that point.
Yep.
And as we got to know each other better, you were starting to take on the project for, I think it was 30 Days and 30 Nights.
No, it wasn't 30 days or 30 nights. You're close. It was tied into that. So let me give you the quick down low. I started as a demo agent around 2011.
Yeah.
I became an official freelancer probably a few months after that, after stalking Jason Hardy at Origins. So it's one way to get a job. Not quite sure I recommend it, but if you do it, very careful because But no, I got FaceTime with him. I sent him a sample of my writing, and the rest they say is history. I came in to Shadowrun right at the tail end of fourth edition. So currently, this is the third edition that I've worked in, and I've been a freelancer ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, 30 days or 30 nights, I should say, was sort of a tie-in to the book I did. I want to say starting around 2019ish, called Cutting Black.
That's
when I started. Yep, that was the one I first started as a. Jason gave me the title of project developer because there was a lot of. I had this crazy idea, and I just wanted to do my little crazy idea, which was I just wanted to have fun with Detroit. And then Jason says, "Okay, we'll let you do it, but we need it bigger." What do you mean bigger? We want more stuff to happen. Okay, so worked it out, came up with all the stuff that happened in there. What started off was I just wanted a little fiefdom, a little shadow city of my own, and it evolved into the kind of the pseudo collapse of the UCAST. So as you do.
awesome.
So and since then I just sort of picked up on a lot of other plots. And I before I became line dev, I was the project developer for Scotophobia.
Ooh.
And yes, and I was also technically the project developer for an upcoming book, which we could talk about in a little bit.
Ooh.
So yeah, because we got some good stuff coming up here pretty soon.
Secrets get revealed here on Tuesday Newsday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, secret-ish. More like open secrets, but it's fun to talk about them anyway because
Fair.
I'm really excited about some of these projects.
Awesome.
So, but yeah, I mean, and it was kind of funny because quick little backstory, I actually knew I had the job back in August of last year, but there was a lot of things that needed to be done. Companies restructuring. The legal people had to do their things. A lot of stuff had to be worked out. A lot of I's dotted, T's crossed, all that fun stuff. So I'm literally sitting here kind of going, come on, come on. Because I'm just so excited. I wanted to tell people because I was so excited. But, I also wanted to kind of get to work. So, but I had a couple projects that, I could, sink my teeth into, divide my time. And then I think it was, what was the convention that you and Jason were at where he made the official announcement about the RPG division?
PAX Unplugged.
PAX Unplugged, yes. So I was one of the people watching that video come like, say it. And then when he said it, I'm not gonna lie, there might have been a woohoo.
That's awesome. Aw, I love that.
So yeah.
Cool.
So it's and it has been an interesting 6 months.
So what would you say is the biggest challenge from transitioning from writing and project managing and stuff like that to now you're herding all the cats and guiding the future of the game?
The herding of the cats is probably the most apt description I've seen yet. It wasn't too bad of a transition at first because I was project developer for those books. So I kind of had an idea of what I was getting into. So the whole writing aspect, the editing, assisting with layout, art notes, all that stuff, all the behind the scenes stuff, I was already kind of exposed to it, most of it. There's a lot of other stuff that goes on behind the scenes to make these books happen. And it gave me an insane appreciation for how Jason did this for 14 years. So, but it's been an interesting transition, learning all the new stuff that goes on that I didn't have to do, learning new skills, learning how to work hand in hand with the layout people, artists, stuff like that to make sure everything's coherent. It's also a lot more interesting to come up with the project specs, which for those of you, quick little thing how this works is whenever there's a new idea, the powers that be, Randall, Warren, they want to know what we're doing. They don't give us a blank slate and say, yeah, just go off and do cool stuff. We have to show them exactly what cool stuff we want to do. So those are called specs. So I create the specs. The specs go to then Jason and the powers that be. They give me the yes, no, or hey, make a few adjustments, whatever the feedback is, it's made. And that's what goes to the freelancers and the writers. And then they make pitches. It's like, hey, this particular chapter here, I got a real good idea about this. This is what I want to do. And then my job then becomes to look through all of those and basically go, yes, 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 no, yes, yes, no. And then I might have two kind of, I have to really look at them and go, oh, these are so good, but I got to make a decision. Or sometimes, if I can, I'll try to split them up and try to get multiple people to put multiple ideas in one chapter, multiple chapters. It can be very interesting to try to see what you originally might have had a vision for, and then all of a sudden these new people come up with these really cool ideas, and then you say, "That's so much better." So, I mean, I look at it this way: specs, in my opinion, or a lot of these ideas for books are basically the structure, they're the bones, they're the foundation. What I look for when writers give me ideas is we're going to put meat on those bones. Okay, we're gonna make it. Those are going to be the ideas, the details, which are going to make it cool, and they're going to take that foundation, and that's what they're going to build off. Okay. And every so often, someone does throw me a curveball, and it was something that I never thought about before that I really, really like, and I do my darndest to get everything in there, but sometimes you can't get everything in there, so it becomes a balancing act, and that's kind of the hardest thing, especially when you get so many good ideas that eventually sometimes you have to tell people no. That's the part that kind of sucks the most, because you get all these great stuff, you'll want to use it all, but you only have so many words that you can put into a book and so much stuff you can cram into there. So the hardest part, I would say, is trying to find those best ideas, or the ideas that best work and flow together, so that you get a really cohesive and well-rounded product. So
cool.
And I'm a lore guy, so I'm a sucker for a good story. So if you can give me a good story, yeah, that's how you get my attention.
How did you first discover Shadowrun or get into Shadowrun? Was it before you started writing, or?
Oh, yes. So, like I said, I started writing for Shadowrun back in 2011. So, but I had been playing like a lot of writers in the industry, started off as players and gamers themselves. And I first started playing Shadowrun all the way back in second edition, right at I think first and second had literally just crossed, have just first ended, second just started up when I first got my hand on a Shadowrun book. And it was right during I think it was my senior year in high school. And one of my best friends at the time said, "Hey, check this book out." And I was just like, "Holy moly, this is great." I mean, it was mind-blowing, because, and I know a lot of people have said this, but at the time I was never a fantasy fan. I was always the sci-fi guy. I love me my technology.
Opposite.
I love exactly. And so when they handed me Shadowrun, where it was like this crazy fusion of so many different elements, but I could still play some of the things that I wanted to play, that I liked playing, that's what took off. And I just started playing and playing and playing. And there was about a 4-year period where I didn't really play Shadowrun because, well, my daughter was born at that time. So I was a little distracted, but I eventually started reading my old Shadowrun novels again, the old classics, like Nigel Finley, Robert Thurston, Nick Smith, and, Michael Stackpole. I can't leave Michael Stackpole out. Okay. It would be sacrilege. I'd have to give up my card if I did. But no, it was reading all those books, reintroducing myself, and it just sort of rekindled the love. And then I made my way to a convention, Origins, and I just started running stuff again when 4th edition was in swing, and it just went from there.
Cool.
So
awesome. All right. Well, if anyone thinks of more questions for RJ and his career and writing and freelancing and moving into line developer, please put him in chat. Tag Shock. Shock and Oz our note taker that's feeding me questions for later this episode. But I want to hear secrets.
Secrets? Okay.
Yeah, what's coming?
So, all right. So, we already talked about Final Bets and how it goes back to Needle's Eye. But we've got a few other books that are coming down the pipe. Now, I don't know if Jason's mentioned this, but we're going to go over them again because I like talking about them.
Okay.
The next biggest book that we've got coming out, actually, it's not so much as a big book, but it's something I'm looking forward to. As everybody knows, that Origins is coming up in just a few weeks in Columbus, Ohio. I'll be there. Come and say hi. And one of the ebooks that we're hoping to get out just before the convention, before Origins, is a book called That Old Voodoo. It's an ebook that deals with voodoo in the Sixth World, which is great tie-in because the new season of Shadowrun Missions takes place in New Orleans.
Oh, cool.
So, yep, got a little, yep. It is written by our friend Aaron Dykstra, who did a phenomenal job of going through the system and integrating it into the Sixth World with a lot of really rich detail, lore, and stuff like that. I was amazed how much he was able to cram into. I want to say between 15 and 20,000 words. So really nice. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to do our darndest to get that out. It might come out the week of Origins. We don't know. So it's been sent off, and we're just waiting for the layout people to do their thing. So
shout out to Aaron Dykstra. He is the current Shadowrun Missions developer and like one of my favorite people in the entire world. He's a good beat.
Probably, yeah, he does. I can't describe how much work he does, both behind the scenes and a lot of questions that I had about things when I first started. So, but other things coming out. So we have I believe the next book coming out is going to be a little thing called Smooth Operations, which is going to be the core face rulebook for Sixth World. And this sucker is packed. That was the first book I actually sunk my teeth into on the editing part. And it was the first time I saw this book because I was busy with a couple other things at the time. And oh my goodness, the amount of stuff in there is just crazy. It is a spiritual successor to the 5th edition book Cutting Aces, which was also a very heavy face book, but also talked about things like con games and stuff like that. This kind of takes that, expands upon that, and brings it into Sixth World, which it's awesome. There are a few specific chapters in there which are just awesome. Okay? And then after that, we have another book that's kind of near and dear to my heart because it was the first book as project developer that I put forth to Jason called Tarnished.
Yep.
Yeah, Tarnished Star, yes, which is the core. I should say core, but it is all the information you want to know about law enforcement and security in the Sixth World. It's going to be in this book. Okay. Not only does it talk about some of the big players in the game like Lone Star, Knight Errant, Eagle Security. We've got some other departments that we featured on a global scale. We've got the London Metropolis Police Department, which over there in the UK. We have I apologize if I mispronounce this, Sternenschutz, which is a German company, and then we have a French one called again, my pronunciation is going to be horrible. Agile, something like that. Royale. I'm sorry. Apologies to all our French friends, but
my husband is watching and offended right now.
I totally understand. Send all hate mail. I'll take it. But yeah, but it also talks about things like what it's like to actually do an investigation, how do police respond. It also has a chapter in there. What does the public think about it? About law, and it also has a section of what happens on the legal side, like if a Shadowrunner gets arrested.
Ooh.
What do they get to look forward to? Yes. And this particular book is near and dear to my heart because a lot of people don't know, but I have 20 years of law enforcement experience before I took this job. So when I pitched this idea to Jason, I was like, I could just write this myself. I don't need any help. And he just looked at me and said, no. I'm like, come on. No, I'm fine. No. But I was actually very much amazed and very pleased at the excellent work that the freelancers did. I'll be honest, the only thing I contributed to this was one piece of fiction in the beginning because everybody wanted in on
Oh,
this one.
that's so cool.
So it's great.
Awesome.
And I'm very, very happy that it didn't turn into, what a lot of people think Hollywood Police is. It's grounded in realism, but it's grounded also in six world realism.
Awesome.
So very looking forward to that. And after that, the next thing I could talk about, we talked about scotophobia a little bit earlier, which was the really big Dissian plot line that we've been doing for quite a while since 2019 because it started all the way in Cutting Black. That's when the first bits of that plot line started.
Ooh.
Well, we're going to wrap. Well, the final book in that plot line is coming out. It's called Lethal Harvest, and it's
Ooh.
going to bring everything together. And I will say this: the sixth world is not going to be the same.
Ooh.
Yes,
Awesome.
there's going a lot of upheaval, a lot of insanity, and a lot of opportunity for players to get involved at every level of this conflict, all the way from stuff that's happening at street level all the way to the highest echelons of megacorporate power.
That's
So
awesome.
fun times.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So little tidbit, peek behind the curtains here. I'm excited, RJ, to see what some of your legacy items come to be in your time as line developer. Because if there's one thing that all of us at Catalyst are very good at doing, it's making fun of each other. And so one of
Uh-oh.
Jason's legacies, I pulled up a list for examples. So Jason's naming mechanics. Do you know what I'm talking about, RJ? They most of them have a pattern to them, and it's 2-syllable, 1-syllable. So you'll have to watch for this kind of stuff. So an example of what I'm looking for that we make fun of Jason for is Firing Squad, Double Clutch, Emerald City, Cutting Black, 30 Nights, Power Plays. So they all have that rhythm to them. And he did not know this until fairly recently. So we are making fun of him relentlessly, and I can't wait to see what your isms are that you fall into, RJ.
Well, and this is something that goes back to my earliest days as a freelancer. I'm a sucker for pop culture, and I will try to sneak references in wherever I can. Now, it became a little now. Jason was also just as good at finding them and removing the more, how should I say, on the nose ones. But I did notice that certain ones were left in. Now, I'm not going to say what they are because I want people to go back and start to see if they can find them.
Cool.
Because, I mean that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I mean, right now, I'm just doing my best to get my feet underneath me. So
yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see to read some of your recent stuff because my tease for you. Do you remember what my tease for you used to be?
Are we talking about a certain little wannabe ninja samurai person? Is that who we're talking about?
I was gonna tease
okay.
that you were Captain Box Text.
Oh, dang it! Just when you think people forget about it, pull it right back in. Yes, I will. You know what? I will wear that with pride because that name was given to me by one of my best friends and one of my best friends and one of the best demo agents that ever ran the game, Stephen Tinner. So it was Stephen Tinner, and I believe there was another friend of mine, Tim Patrick, who they were kind of thick and thin. Yes, I think it was between the two of them, possibly one other person that just sort of blurted it out, or it was some comments made after a mission, one of my first missions that I wrote, where I had a tell it to them straight that was literally 2 pages long. So, oops. Now, I've done a lot better to try to curtail that, but every so often the storyteller in me just sort of pokes its head out and I have to rein it back in, at least break it up a little bit. So,
well, we tease out of love.
Exactly. And that's probably my legacy thus far is the box text.
Awesome.
So, we'll see.
Cool. All right. So, Gosh, anything else that you want to talk about that's coming down the pike for Shadowrun before we switch over to some questions?
There's a lot of other stuff in the works, stuff I really can't talk about right now. But like I said, the end of Lethal Harvest, there's going to be some really interesting, fun stuff in terms of the Sixth World as a whole and the meta plot in general. We're looking to shake things up, try to get people interested, and in my opinion, it's going to be the first steps into sort of getting back to basics, as it were. I am a big fan of getting more of the punk back into the cyberpunk that is Shadowrun, and maybe throw in just a wee bit of revolution just for flavor.
Ooh.
Because in my opinion, the corpse, they've been around. They're the big powerful thing. I think they need to have it stuck to them just a little bit more.
Cool.
At least that's
Cool. I love that. Jason said something. I don't know if you've talked to him about UK Games Expo yet.
not yet.
But I'm gonna try to share more of these little anecdotes because you get the peek behind the curtain to some of the personalities here. And at UK Games Expo, it was the first demo games of Frostpunk, and he said that the first group that he ever ran for said that like halfway through the adventure, they were like, I feel like we need societal revolution, and then they spent the rest of the time planning like how do we get the resources for revolution. So that was cute. He was very proud dad moment.
Welcome to the revolution. It will be on the Matrix.
Awesome. All right, well, let's switch over to questions. I've been seeing the mods filling out our thing, so thank you guys so much for helping take care of us every single week. All right, RJ.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Prussian Havoc. What is the best Gateway Shadowrun product for a longtime BattleTech gamer?
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna go straight to it. Core Rulebook. Okay, it's got everything that you need. Okay, um, don't be discouraged about how big and how thick it is, because because it is crunchy. But the way I describe Shadowrun is that once you learn how everything fits together, then it moves really quickly. But the core rulebook literally has everything that you need right there to start playing. It gives you a quick primer on the world, corporations, how everything works. Of course, it's got game mechanics, and it's got enough stuff in there to fully complete the character. Of course, it wouldn't be a core rulebook if it didn't. Everything else just adds layers to it. So I would start there. Now, that's for game mechanics itself. Okay. Now, if you're looking for lore, which I'm a big fan of, also check out some of the other core rule books or just books in general, because a lot of them have real small bits, about 3,000 words short stories. I might have written a few of them, but they give you a flavor of not only what's going to be in that book, but what it's like in the Sixth World. And of course, always check out the novellas, the novels. Those are great for getting a flavor of the Sixth World, because when I first started playing Shadowrun back in second edition, one of the first things I did was I bought the core rule book, but then at the same store I bought that book from, there's a little anthology book called Into the Shadows. I snatched that sucker up because that is what told me what the Sixth World is about. Okay. And that's what the stories are about. I mean, you could have the greatest mechanics in the world, but if you don't have a good story, it's just not going to be interesting.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
I agree. I as life is ever busier, working for Catalyst and having my own company and stuff like that, I don't get as much, and all the travel I do now, I don't get as much time to play as I would like. But taking one of the novels with me and reading on the flight and stuff like that, that really scratches that Shadowrun itch.
Yep. I would also put a shout out to Shadowrun Anarchy. So if the main core rulebook is a little daunting, or you want something that's a little more rules light and more narrative heavy, check out Anarchy. Also a really, really good product. It's more of theater of the mind's eye kind of thing, in my opinion, but it's still in the same world, and all the background information is still all the same.
Cool.
So
We answered Killian's question already. Will you be at Origins this year? So yes.
I will be at Origins, yes.
Are you going to be in the booth? Are you going to be running games? What you doing?
As far as I know, I'm probably mainly going to be in the booth. However, last I heard, the demo team guys had everybody that they needed to run games. However, I will make my way down to the game room at the very least to say hi, talk with fans, talk with everybody, and if I get roped into something, hey, we'll see what happens.
I'm hoping
You know?
that's my hope for every con now, and especially Origin since it's 5 days. Like, if I can get into the room and sit down at the table and like I want to play at least one Shadowrun game and at least one BattleTech game. Like if I can do that, it's a good con. So, and as I said last week, I've learned to tell Lauren no when he pulls me into too many things. So,
well, you've got that power. I don't have that quite yet. Give me when I get a solid year, then I can probably think.
Let me give you advice. He respects sass. Sass him and like I don't know.
Sass or sarcasm?
Sass.
Sass? Okay.
Yeah. I talk to him. I don't talk to like anyone else the way I talk to Lauren. And he just like it works for whatever reason.
Who knew? So
Jason Mallory asked, I loved the Shadows of books and similar world books. Are there plans to update Corners of the Globe to 6th? Aftershocks of Dis, maybe?
I would love to do stuff like that. The problem with with books like that is that they tend to not sell very well, and that's something we always have to factor in. However, I do like the concept. There was something that we had a few years back. It was called Shadows in Focus. They were ebooks. One of the things I'm also doing, since we're starting with that old voodoo, is to start to revamp and start kicking into more ebook stuff like that. So will we possibly see more like full, what I call them, dead tree format books of that? Probably not. However, ebooks, that's more likely. And if we can get enough of those ebooks together, I am not opposed to maybe putting a bunch of them together in sort of a pack or in a print book. So if we get multiple locations, like say, like before we had Shadows in Focus Morocco, Shadows in Focus, Sioux Nation. If we get enough of those, put them together in one book and just sell them as Shadows in Focus Volume 1 or something like that. But also at the end of the day, if there is enough of a demand for something, I'm very, very open to doing what I can to make it happen because, you're the guys who keep me employed. So yeah, just reach out, let me know what's interested specifically, and I'll keep stuff in mind.
Cool. Jeremy Thompson asks, what do you think is the best one shot to introduce someone to SR?
Ooh, a one shot. You know what?
I have an answer to this.
Okay, go with yours. Let's see what is Rem like.
So there is a one shot that's in the beginner box. So you can do that. The 1 year I was a demo agent that actually ran games, I did First Taste, which are just the little one shots to learn a little bit of the system.
I love First Taste.
Yeah. And it was the only one they could talk me into actually being a demo agent for. I did more of the organization and the room captaining and stuff like that. Because as much as I love Shadowrun, it is crunchy and I do not have a mind for rules. I've gotten a lot better, but so at that time I was like, hey, if I get it wrong, no one will know. And I just made something up about like they were in Chicago, because that's where I like to run, and they were given a package to deliver to an address. And that was it. And my only other thing was that when what I knew that they didn't know was that it was being delivered to a ghoul's nest and it was a bomb. But but like I ran it like 4 or 5 times that weekend, and every single.
And how many different variations did you get?
4 or 5. Like,
exactly.
There was one that was so suspicious about the Mr. Johnson that they were like, do we look at like they spent so much time trying to be like, I don't think I believe in this Johnson, and let's rip him apart. And I'm like, he's just blowing up some ghouls. Like, I don't know who this guy is, but sure. Like, but
it's not paranoia when they really are out to get you.
So like making up some little scenario that feels like whatever Shadowrun is to you.
Yeah.
In this case, they were doing a good thing, kind of, because these ghouls were ripping apart the city and stuff like that. These ghouls were okay.
Oh, these ghouls were okay. It's not all ghouls. It's these ghouls.
These
I get
ghouls.
you. No, towards when I was a demo agent, literally up until when I took this job. So, and first tastes were always my favorite because, like you said, you can just make stuff up. I had three different scenarios which were kind of my go-tos. One is the meet, where you're hired by Mr. or Ms. Johnson, depending on how I felt at the time. The whole idea was they wanted you to grab someone to bring them to a meeting that they're refusing to go to. And it turns out there's some type of underworld criminal, mafia, yakuza, whatever, who disrespect them by not, answering the invitation. The second one is if I had a particularly combat heavy group at the table, it was just fairly simple. Okay, we got a bunch of gangers who are terrorizing this neighborhood. Go make them disappear.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. And the third one, which I came about because when I use this one when I have a very combat light group, but I have a lot of sneaky people,
Mm-hmm.
is you're hired to break into this factory and steal a semi truck. Okay, so the first time I ran it, I only had 3 players. I had a covert ops specialist, a decker, and a rigger. So I'm thinking, oh man, I got to come up with something. So I'm trying to think of what's the hook to this, and I thought, and for some reason, my brain came up with this idea that the truck they're stealing is full of nothing but beer. It is literally a beer run, and I did base it off of a classic movie, so I will give extra NERPS points to anybody who can come up with what maybe guess which movie that was. But as far as something that's published, I would pick Food Fights. It's usually in a lot of, I can't remember if that's the one that's in the box set, but it's really quick. It's really easy. I think you might be able to download it. Me, I'm still learning this stuff. But any of the missions are usually pretty decent because they're made for all levels, and you can get them, drive through. You can purchase them really cheap, I think for like $5. So those are also great places just to kind of jump into. And it's a little more than the standard stuff because first tastes are fun, but they're just meant to give you kind of that. It's usually one combat round, throw some dice and call it.
Yeah. Awesome. I saw a good question pop up in the chat that I don't want to miss out on. I forgot about this, so thank you for calling it out. There is a bundle of holding. There's 2 different bundle of holdings for Shadowrun right now. It's running until June 24th. One is a revival of their Shadowrun 5th edition Essentials bundle, and the other is a new Shadowrun 5th edition Missions bundle. So speaking of missions, I'm going to put those in the chat right there for you.
Those are out there.
Awesome.
And a couple, and you might recognize the name on some of the stuff that's in those bundles. I don't know.
Is it RJ?
Yeah. There's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple of them there.
Awesome. All right. What else do we got? Battletech question. My friendly local game store says the Star League Force packs are on pre-order. Any idea when they'll be shipping to stores? I don't. Our fulfillment person would be in on that, and he wasn't in our meeting this week. But hopefully I'll see the sell sheets on that soon. I'd imagine that they should be getting into Alliance, but maybe the sell sheets haven't transferred or something like that. So it should be very soon because they're here. Shadowrun questions. 2 Drunk Dwarves asks, any news on Roll20 support for Shadowrun?
Yes. So we're still working on a lot of updates with some of the other materials that's making its way into Roll20. I haven't been as into some of those conversations as say Jason has, because like I said, still getting used to some of this stuff, and he's already has a good working relationship with the Roll20 people. So he would know a little bit more about that than I would. Sorry, unfortunately, I don't have that much. But it is something that we're continuing our support with. And we do have some more things in the pipeline. It's just we're getting through a few things that we've got going on right now. And once that's done, then we'll start working on some of the other stuff. But the answer is there stuff? Are we still going to be supporting? Yes. Do I have details? Unfortunately not.
Cool.
Sorry.
You've been here 6 months now, so you're not new, and I'm going to put you on the spot with the next 2 questions.
Uh-oh, okay.
Bagusla Olsak, sorry for the mispronunciation that I'm sure I just did. Any plans for 7th edition of Shadowrun?
You know, I was wondering when this question was going to come up. So here's the thing. Shadowrun 7th edition, is it going to happen? Probably. You know, inevitably it's going to have to happen. But right now, I get a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, you know what? I got this really great idea for something I think should be in the next edition. Or, hey, I think we should do this in, Shadowrun 7 when it eventually comes out. Or, hey, we should do this, that. Right now, a lot of those ideas are spitballing and usually come to me, ironically enough, at conventions, even when I was a freelancer, because, a lot of people, a lot of demo agents who are also freelancers are always coming up with new ideas. Usually when we're, it's after hours and we might be having a sip of scotch or something like that. That's when the ideas seem to flow. Go figure. But, that's pretty much it at this point. I mean, we've got so much stuff coming in down the pipeline that there is still a lot of stuff coming out for 6th edition. And I've been working on a production schedule for for the near future, at least the next 2 years. And right now we're looking and everything is 6. So.
All right. The second hard question. What about the long-awaited campaign box expansion for Shadowrun Crossfire?
Oh, that is one of those things where I don't know. That is the board game people. I would expect that I don't know what status that's in. Okay. Even when I was a freelancer, I never was really involved in that. So it's never on my radar. Hopefully, people who are in charge of the game board division, that would be something for them to ask them. They'd be able to better to answer that than I could. If I don't
Richie know on, and we'll put him on the
exactly. Spot. Yeah. Go corner him with that one and say, hey, you want to know? Come on.
Awesome.
And if I don't have the answer to something, I'm just going to tell you I don't have the answer because I don't want to give you bad information. So.
Lewis asks, I heard there was a direct-to-retailer sign-up sheet, but I found no way to get that. Any way for retailers to inquire? So far, we have only done a sign-up sheet at Gamma. We do have a direct-to-retail program coming later this year. The best way to get on it right now, until we get stuff out on socials, is to email store@catalystgamelabs.com and just ask to be added to the list, and CJ will take care of you, so... Why are you shaking your head at me?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't a shake your head at you. That was if you really, really must know, it might be a little bit TMI. I had to scooch in my chair a little bit.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay.
It looks like you were so disapproving of the director.
Oh, no. No, trust me. My disapproval is more, how should I say, obvious.
Okay.
It's more of like Sheldon Cooper.
Oof. Lorcan Nagel, hi Lorcan. What is Rem's biggest regret in her time at CGL, and why is it deciding not to go to UK Games Expo? Listen.
Yeah, Rem, tell us all about that.
Two reasons that I didn't end up going. One is that earlier this year I did 6 weeks of travel in a row, and it was a lot to recover from. This would have been a second 6 weeks of travel in a row, which would have been a lot to recover from. That was a very small reason that I wanted to break, or that I needed to break things up. The bigger reason is that I have a pinched sciatic nerve, and it's been really hard to walk, and I'm in physical therapy for that. So I'm getting better slowly, but going to a foreign country that I've never been to before, trying to navigate around while being alone and not being as mobile as I would like to be, I was like, I need to focus on physical therapy and getting better. So It sucked. It was really hard decision because my husband was actually going to come meet me out there, and we were going to do our honeymoon that we never got to have because we were married in COVID. We will make it up. I'm already, my ears are perked for Essen and for PAX Aus. So if I can weasel my way into that and I'm feeling better, I will be at one of those. So, but I am very sad that I was not there. That was real hard. Real hard. But all right, let's see. We have time for one or two more questions. Dennis Foster asks, last year at Gen Con, you guys had a lot of cool SR swag. What kind of new swag can we expect at Gen Con this year?
Oh, so as far as I know, we've got we got t-shirts, mugs, all the standard stuff. We might have, the 35th anniversary first edition book. We've got a couple other things which I'm not sure I could speak about just yet. I don't know who has announced what yet, so I don't want to get myself in trouble because I just got this job.
We've talked about the Echo Scroll. I've talked about the
40th
or the 35th anniversary dice trays and dice that I put together.
Okay, so then yeah,
we've talked about the mugs.
Yep. So as far as I know, it's pretty much been covered. So nothing, as far as I've been told, nothing new other than what's already been said. So
awesome. Okay. And then as the last one, Prussian Havoc asks, for RJ, Corporate Sins, Lauren Bond, and Hyper RPG was a favorite Shadowrun live stream of mine. Are there any Shadowrun live streams you would recommend today?
So it's been a long time since I've had time to watch live streams, but I know Rem, you might be doing something along those lines.
We've done a lot of Shadowrun.
Done a lot of Shadowrun. So yeah, just I can't really think of anything off my head.
I'll save you here.
Yeah, you'll save me. Quick, I'm throwing out the lifeline.
The Shadowcasters Network. I joined that maybe a year ago now. And we moved some of the stuff from Rem Alternis Productions over to Shadowcasters Network, so you can find the entirety of the 5th edition Chicago seasons of missions. So we played through all of those. There's a 6th edition actual play that's rotating GMs and stuff on Shadowcasters Network. There's been Opti has done the Neo-Anarchist podcast, which is bite-sized chunks of lore. And he was starting to do a vidcast. He had to step away because big life changes and stuff. But there's like a ton of episodes on podcast. What else?
Also recommend we have Mr. Johnson and the Arcology podcast.
The Arcology podcast?
He's back up and running.
Yep.
So I think, and he's got an extensive library as well.
Yep. So. And that's got there's an Arcology actual play, and there's 6th World news and stuff, so like books that have come out and things like that. And interviews and stuff. And then those are all Mr. Johnson is still doing those, but we also have every single week, and we just started a brand new season. It's year 3 for us on Gen Con TV is Emerald Glitch. And that's Thursday nights from 8 p.m. Eastern to 11-ish or midnight. And we've got a rotating cast there. Tyler, our favorite crowdfunding person, is part of the cast, and he runs tech. And then we are looking at a whole lot. We have World of Shadows, and then we have and the Realmsmith stream with the Critical Role actors. You should go look that up. So there's a ton of content out there that I really appreciate.
Yeah, there's so much out there. I can't even keep up anymore. Of course, I'm usually busy, whenever I can, peel myself away from my computer, working on the subject. They're doing what? Cool. Okay. And then I got to go right back to it. So, but I do love the fact there is just so much Shadowrun stuff out there, more than since I've started. There's just, I can't keep track of it all. And I love it. It's like
bringing more to this channel too. So, one of the many things that I would like to do. So. Awesome. Well, we are at the top of the hour, so it's time to wrap it up. RJ, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you. and your excitement for the line. Can't wait to see what you do with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience, for being here, just like you are every week. Really appreciate you guys. And don't forget to, I'm remembering this week, don't forget to like the stream and subscribe to the YouTubes and follow
Get
us.
the notification.
Yeah, and join us on our Discord server. The link is in the description, and we'll see you, I think, next week. I'm not sure when it looks like I'm going to be going last minute to GameCon Canada. So, I don't know when, but if I'm not traveling or in the middle of something, I will be here next week. So thank you guys.